Hi, this is Paul from Outerloop Coaching and OuterloopCoaching.com, back with you this week to talk about the perfect merch booth. It's not just about the product. It's not just about the stuff you need in order to sell. It's also about the techniques. I'm going to go through all of this today. This is going to be jam-packed with some awesome stuff. It's going to make you money at your merch booth every time you do a live show. Plus, at the end, I've got this really awesome technique I used to use as a tour manager. It worked really well, and now I'm seeing a new way that people are doing it on the campaign trail, the politicians running for office nowadays, and it's awesome. You got to start doing it too. So let me dive into it. Before I do, please like the video, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell so you get alerts when we put out new ones of these videos, and we do that once, sometimes twice a week. So really appreciate it. Also visit us at OuterloopCoaching.com for a bunch of free stuff, downloads and that sort of thing. First, let's talk about the product, right? The product is the stuff that you are selling. It's the stuff that you buy in advance in order to create and then you sell it at the merch booth, and what you're trying to do is turn a profit. So if you buy your shirts, for example, at $6, $7 per shirt, can you sell that shirt for 15, 20 bucks? The difference is if it's 15 and you bought it at 7, the profit is $8 a shirt, and that can add up very, very quickly. This is pretty critical to being able to survive on the road, and it's very critical to raising money for recording, raising money for new equipment, raising money to put gas in the van, food in your stomach. It's critical. Right? But not just about having any product, right? The first thing you want to make sure is that you have some variety in your product. This isn't just about making sure you've got 3 or 4 different designs. It isn't just about having sizes all the way from smalls all the way down to triple or quadruple extra large. It's not just about having men's shirts and women's shirts. It's also about having a variety of colors and stuff like that. Now, some bands, especially like in harder music, you go look at their merch booth, it's nothing but black shirts. And that is a part of the culture. You definitely have to have it. But having a red option, having a white option, maybe even a sky blue option can be awesome, even if it's in low quantities, just so that you can get those people who are just like, you know what, I'm not in the mood for a black shirt, another black shirt, I want something different. That's how you get them. It's the same thing with your designs. Not just having one design, not just having a one-sided t-shirt, but having 2 or 3 different options with different designs and different colors is really going to do awesome stuff, because you are giving your fans what they want. Whenever you have your merch booth and you don't have it in the color that they want, that you don't have a design that they want, you have failed. Now, that doesn't mean you need to open up Walmart every night, but it does mean you should look at variety. Now, one of the really great ways to make sure you've got good variety in your merch booth is something that it's sort of like A/B testing, right? A/B testing is the idea that you have one thing and you have a second thing and you race them against each other to see which one does better, right? And you can do that in your merch booth. If you've got 2 designs, 4 designs, 6, 8, whatever it is, test them against each other. Look at the ones that sell and the ones that don't. The ones that don't sell very quickly, don't make them again. Get rid of them and get a new design and try it up against your other bestseller. Before you know it, you're going to figure out, if you do this conscientiously, you're going to find which designs are the ones that work really great and people really want. You can ask them and they might tell you, but it isn't until they vote with their dollars and they vote with their euros that you actually know. And not to mention, that brings up a great point too. What might work really well on the East Coast of the United States might not work well on the West Coast. What might work well in the UK might not work well in Germany, and so on and so on. So making sure that you always have 2, maybe 3 great selling designs and 2 or 3 designs that you're just testing to find out whether people really like them. That's a great way to organize your merch booth as far as the t-shirts are concerned. But ask, going back to fans, ask for feedback, ask for ideas. It doesn't hurt, especially if before the tour even begins, you're able to put out on your socials or send out an email and go, hey, we're looking at this design or this design, which one do you like? And then see what people come back with. They're going to tell you what they'll want to buy. And if they tell you, yeah, I love that, they're that much more invested in actually purchasing it when you get to their town. So that's t-shirts, but now beyond t-shirts, you also want to make sure you've got a variety of product. It's not just about t-shirts and maybe you got vinyl, maybe you got your CDs. What else can you have, right? Turns out that there's tons of stuff you can have. Look at what other people are selling. Find out what works, what doesn't work. Think about the things that you'd love to have. One of my favorite merch items I ever bought was from a really great band on the West Coast called Deadbolt. And about 15 years ago, they had salt and pepper shakers that they bought for like less than $1 at the grocery store. They slapped their logo on both of them. I thought it was hilarious. They're fantastic. I used those salt and pepper shakers for like 10 years. And I was refilling them even though they're not supposed to be refilled. Look for opportunities like that, especially when it's a super high margin item. Go to the what do you call it, the Goodwills that you're in different towns and see what there is that's there that you can grab for super cheap, and you can just throw your logo on it. If it looks cool and it's unique, people will love it, and it's a really great margin product, which is going back to that idea of you got your cost and you've got how much you sell it for. The difference is the margin. That's the amount of money that you're able to put into your pocket. And the more creative you are, especially when you're able to find low cost items that are pretty unique and you can sell them at a more premium price, that is going to be awesome. Remember, you sell a $15 shirt. Yeah, okay, you're able to put $15 into your tank, but you spent $7 to get that $15. You only really have got $8 to put on the tank. The rest of it was a loan. So if you're able to now sell that same a different item that for that same price of $15, but your costs were only $1, well, now you got 14 of that 15 that you're able to put in that tank. You only had the loan of $1. That's pretty awesome, right? And highly recommended. Now the other thing is, never throw anything out. You bust a drum head, you bust strings, you bust a flat tire on the road, whatever it is, autograph that thing and try to sell it in your merch booth. Swear to God, people will love to do it. A buddy of mine was telling me about the band Flotsam Jetsam, where they went out and got a slice of pizza and they had one too many. And the fan said, I would want to buy your slice of pizza. The guy autographed the back of the pizza and sold it to him. That is fantastic. And you know what? It's a great story. You know, I know the pizza's going to go bad. Everybody's like, what is stupid for buying a slice of pizza? It's going to go bad. But you know what that guy's got? He's got an amazing story, and it's really unique. It was worth the money. Hell, I'm talking about it now, and that must have happened years ago. How many times have somebody bought a t-shirt? How many times some strangers talking about the experience of buying that t-shirt? Never, right? Never. But when you're able to sell something really cool, really unique, and you're tying it up in a broken guitar string or something, man, that's a story. People will love it, and it's going to be great for everybody. All right, so, but now the word of warning on all this is that you need to be wary of the packability of all of this product. Can you fit it into your van? Can you put it into boxes? Can you put it into the those big old Tupperware things so that way you can, you know, keep it and it's light and it doesn't take up too much space, because space is usually at a premium in the van or the truck or whatever it is that you're driving, the bus if you're lucky, right? So space is at a premium. Make sure that it's something that you actually can have there, and if it does take up a lot of space, make sure it's something that you're going to be able to sell on the first date or two, and you're not going to reback it, so you don't have to worry about it. Speaking of backup, always have backup product while you're on the road for an extended period of time. Have backup product somewhere where somebody that you trust and you know will do a good job and get it to the right place, will be able to ship it for you. Just keep in mind, the cost of shipping can be really expensive and can eat into that margin really quickly. So you want to make sure that whatever that cost is, you can keep it relatively low and still have enough product to sell for the rest of the tour. It can make a huge difference in how much much money you're bringing home in your pocket if you're lucky at the end of the tour. Variety of price points. This is another really critical item that many bands don't even think about, right? But think about the number of times that you've gone to a merch booth, you want to support the band, the t-shirts are, let's say, 20 bucks, and you're like, I don't have 20 bucks, man. I only got 15. I only got 12. I only got 10, right? Having a variety of price points so that whatever it is that people have available, they will have something that they can buy from you. Again, if you don't have something for them that they want or they can afford, then you have failed. And you need to make sure you have a variety. So having something that is 50 bucks, having something that's 20 bucks, having something that's 15 or 10 bucks, something that's less than 10 bucks. Have that variety on there. Bundle stuff up when you can to try to encourage people to grab stuff, especially at the later ends of the tour when you just want to move stuff out. Bundle stuff together. Find ways to be there for your fans no matter what they can afford for supporting you, okay? So having a variety of price points in your stuff. Speaking of, underneath that $1 button or $1 sticker that you're selling, right? You need to also have something that you give away for free in exchange for an email. Emails, you have to collect emails. You have, if best case scenario is that you got a laptop, a Chromebook, or something that you can have people type it in so you don't have to spend hours and hours at the end of the tour typing all those in and getting all the typos and who knows what they wrote down, right? But if you can get them to type their email in, maybe even you've got a system where you can do some factor authorization where they got to confirm they received the email. And then you give them the sticker, you give them the button, you give them the whatever it is that you're giving in exchange. That is awesome. Collect emails. There's other videos on this channel. And in fact, I might have one over my head where I talk about the value of emails and why they are super awesome. And you want to collect as many of those as you can on the road and make sure you're keeping track of what market you are in and what market they are in when they give you the email, right? That's one thing. So the market that they are in, that you're performing in, you want that to be attached to that person. So the next time you go to that town, you can alert them to let them know that you're coming. This is also really awesome for Facebook and Instagram advertising. That's another video. Okay, presentation. Okay, oh my God. Some of these merch booths are the most ugliest things. You're in the business of selling your stuff. You cannot just have your stuff duct taped to a wall and expect people to go, yeah, that's what I want, right? I'm not saying you need to open up Macy's, but you need to have some sort of presentation. I recommend, and this wasn't my idea, but back when I was a musician, we had a grid work of PVC pipe. The PVC pipe at Home Depot is super inexpensive. It's also really light, and it's easy to create a little grid to attach things together. You slide the shirts on, you attach things to the grid. It can look really, really nice every single gig. It looks like something that people want to pull off, they want to touch, they want to own. And if you've got duct tape all over it or whatever, the unpredictability of the space that venues give you, don't deal with that. Bring your own. This is almost as important as making sure you've got the right presentation when you're on stage, right? Because this is where you might make more money than you do from playing the gig, is from your merch. So you need to give that as much thought. So using something, it doesn't have to be PVC pipe, it could be anything, right? But something that allows your merchandise to look good and look like something people want to buy. Make sure that you've got that there, and make your prices visible. Make them visible. Make it so that people know what it is that they're asking or looking at, right? They need to be able to look in their head and be able to go, yes, I want that, and I definitely want that because that's the price that I want. You can't have them coming up to you and asking what price something is, because most of the time they're not going to do it, because they'll go, oh no, it's probably 25 bucks. Oh no, that's probably 30 bucks. And it might be less. It might be more, but it might be less. And you want to make sure that you give them all the information that they need to make an instant decision, right? You want that impulse. They look at the merch, they go, yep, I want it. And if the price is right next to it, when they make that momentary decision, it makes that decision easier. If they don't see the price, now they've got minutes, seconds, minutes before they find out what the price is, and in the meantime, going through their head, well, no, this means that I won't be able to go out to lunch tomorrow, and oh yeah, I promised so-and-so we're going to lunch, and they're doing all that calculation. They're talking themselves out of the decision that they've already made. So make sure that your prices are very visible. Take credit cards. Take credit cards. There's a number of really great services for taking credit cards with your phone, taking them with your laptop, right? Sign up for one of them. Now, they will take a huge chunk of your money in order to process that payment, right? And if you need to find a way to try to collect that money a different way from the customer, so be it. I don't know how legal that is or whatever, but it might be something you want to consider. But I'll tell you what, too many times someone goes, I don't have the cash. And that was the difference between selling the item and not selling the item. It's the difference between having gas in your tank and not, right? So take the credit cards. And I should add, with the taking the cash, taking the credit cards, what was I going to say on that? Yeah, you got to do it. And also, hey, if I'm able to use credit, I will spend a lot more than I would with cash. I know that sometimes cash in my pocket, it's like burning a hole, right? And I can get pretty good about not spending any money because I don't have any cash in my pocket. You put 40, 60 bucks in my pocket, all of a sudden I gotta get rid of it, right? But with a credit card, I can go, you know what? I'll worry about it next month. I'll spend 100. I'll spend 110. I haven't done that in a long time. But I'm saying you can. Your customers will. They will spend more with the credit card than they will with cash. So take the credit cards. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is how you need to announce from the stage about your merch, right? I got a system for it, and I call it R.E.D. R.E.D. R-E.D. First R is reason. Give a reason. Announce a reason for why people need to buy your merch. Think about this like crowdfunding, right? In crowdfunding, people weren't supporting crowdfunding campaigns, and still do, because they wanted the stuff. They supported crowdfunding because there was a reason. And if you can give a reason from the stage and people buy into it, and it's a good reason, you are going to sell a lot more merchandise than you would just saying, we've got some stuff over there, right? When you say we got some stuff over there, well, what difference? Am I making the world a better place by buying your stuff? No, right? But if I'm making the world a better place because you're able to get to the next gig, because you're able to eat, because we haven't slept in a hotel or motel in 2 weeks, because I haven't taken a shower in 2 weeks. I'm making the world a better place because you need to raise money for the studio. If you can just say to people, hey, we're the opening band, and we don't know whether you guys loved us or not. Did you love us? Yeah, hey, that sounded good. You really want to tell us? Just stop by the merch booth and let us know, right? Now you're giving people a reason, but have a really powerful reason as to why people should not only come to your merch booth, but should also buy your stuff. So R.E.D. R is for reason. E, R-E. The E is for enunciate. Now, PA systems and venues are awful for being able to understand what it is that you say. And too many people, they get on the mic and they start talking like this and they can't understand what they're saying, right? And it comes through those front of house speakers and it's a mumble. It's a total mumble. 9 times out of 10, it's a mumble. You can mumble your way through why we wrote that song, or mumble your way through what town you're from, or mumble your way through anything, but never mumble your band name and never mumble anything about your merch. And you even want to enunciate more than you might think is appropriate or comfortable. Trust me, even when it comes through your monitors and it sounds just fine in your head, it sounds fine coming through those front of house speakers, with the reverb and all the other stuff, natural or otherwise, it is a garbled mess unless you enunciate. This is one of the most important communications you're going to make from the stage. So make sure that you do it right. Enunciate. R.E.D. R-E-D. R, reason, E, enunciate, D, direct. Direct people to where the merch booth is. Point to them to where it is exactly. I hope you were there already and you know where it is. Make sure they know where it is too. If you can see it from the stage, make sure you direct to it and have somebody from inside the merch booth wave and hi to everybody. Make sure everybody knows where your merch is. That is so important. Remember this. R.E.D. Give them a reason. Enunciate. Direct. All right. All right, let me tell you a quick story. As a road manager, many years ago, when I was a road manager, it was an artist that I worked with, and he was on a tour as an opening act for another artist who was bigger at the time. Now, this guy is much bigger than the dude he was opening up for, right? But at the time, he was growing. And after he was done on stage, and trust me, he used that R.E.D system. We didn't call it R.E.D, but he was really good at it. As soon as he was done, he didn't even put his instrument down, right? He didn't stop to say hi to the guys in the band, didn't help lug an amp off stage. He did none of that. He went directly to the merch booth and he stood there, and he would be there throughout the whole 20-30 minutes in between switch over to the headliner, and he was there throughout the entire headlining set every single night on that tour. And that headlining set was about 90 minutes. So he was there on his feet 2 hours, and he shook hands that entire 2 hours and then some. There were nights when the other band finished up, they'd gone to their merch booth to sign autographs and stuff too, and long after their line was gone, our dude was still doing it. And there was a couple of things that he did super effectively. One is that he made a connection with everybody in that line. And this is something you have to do, right? Think about it. You've just spent your set communicating to your fans. You've been the one communicating to them. And if these are super fans, then you might have just spent months, weeks, maybe years communicating to them. Now you need to give them their chance to communicate back to you. And these conversations might be a minute, might be 2 minutes, it might be 15, depending on whether there's people standing behind them, right? You got to keep it moving. But if there's not somebody standing behind, give them a chance to tell you what it is that you mean to them. Give them a chance to tell you about their lives. Give them a chance to make a memory for themselves. This is absolutely critical, right? People will remember your performances when you're great, but when you combine that with an awesome experience at the merch booth one-on-one with the musician that they love, the musician they admire, a musician who's going to be bigger in the future, that is the memory that will stick with them forever. Make those memories happen. Your merch booth is not just the place you sell your stuff. Your merch booth is the place where memories are made for each and every one of your fans. Make sure that you do it. And if you don't have enough fans yet, it's okay. Make the connections and they will come back and they will bring friends. And as it grows, you will be in the habit of doing all the right things. One of the things, now this is what I alluded to at the beginning of this video, right? So one of the things that I see politicians doing as they're out politicking nowadays, and it's so great because it's like a more advanced version of the things that we did back on the road 15 odd years ago, is that what they're doing now is they are taking selfies for hours after they give their speeches and all that stuff. And that is awesome. Think about it. If you have 200 people who came to see you, they've lined up, and each and every one of them takes a selfie with you. Every one of them, they might have 100, they might have 500, they might have 1,000 followers or friends on Facebook and Instagram, etc. Let's say 1,000, right? You got 200 people and each one of them takes a selfie. I promise you, they're going to share it. If you ask them to tag you on it, hell yeah, they're going to share it, right? And now your face with their friend has been exposed to 200,000 people every single night. You couldn't buy that kind of exposure. So take selfies, encourage the selfies, and if you want to discourage people taking photos and videos while you're up on stage, okay. But the good replacement is to encourage videos and photos to happen while you are at the merch booth after the show. If you promise people you will be there until your legs fall off, they will come to you, they will take lots of pictures, and they're going to share those with all their friends and all their followers, and that is exposure you cannot buy. You just can't. So I hope you found all this information useful. I think this is all good. Hopefully, you now are going to make buco bucks at your merch booth. That's my hope, all right? But even bigger, I'm just hoping that this is awesome for all of your fans. I'm hoping that now you're going to do some of these things and they're going to have a better experience because they're going to have better merch, they're going to have more merch, and they're going to have a memory that will last them the rest of their lives at your merch booth. That would be my biggest goal. Okay, so remember, variety of product, the R.E.D system from the stage. You gotta, give them a reason, you gotta enunciate and direct them to the merch booth. And last, make your merch booth the place that memories are made. Thanks a lot. Paul from Outerloop Coaching. Follow me on, just come visit outerloopcoaching.com. I send an email almost every friggin' day with like awesome advice and stuff. So come on by. All right, I'll see you guys next week.